Welcome to the Harvard Business IdeaCast. I'm Sarah Green from Harvard Business Review, and I'm joined today by Vineet Nayar, CEO of HCL Technologies and the author of Employees First, Customers Second, Turning Conventional Management Upside Down. Vineet, thank you so much for talking with us today.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
I don't think we can talk about putting employees first without addressing some of the legitimate skepticism that I think a lot of employees feel after hearing over and over again so many empty slogans like, our people are our greatest asset. How do you overcome that skepticism?
I think the book is to address that skepticism. I think we have too many slogans, too many people putting them in the value statement and doing nothing about it. This book is about how employees are the real value in the company being created in the interface of the employee and the customer. And therefore, by putting employee first and making the management accountable to the employee, you can actually enhance that value in the value zone multiple times.
Well, then let's talk a little bit about the second part also, the customer part, putting the customer second, because the customers pay the bills. So how do you justify putting them second?
I think it's interesting because in the interest of the customer, you have to realize that it's not the management and the CEO who's creating value. It is the employees who are creating value. Go to an Indian airline, go to a Singapore airline, and go to an American airline. You can know the difference between what the employees really create the difference on the ground. So what should be the business of management or the business of managers? Should be taking care of the employees.
Well, tell us then a little bit about how you put this into practice at HCL.
I think to put it in practice, first thing is that what I call mirror. You honestly have to look at the mirror and saying where you are, you have to transform. Once you take a decision that you have to transform, then you have to come with unconventional ideas of how to transform. One of the unconventional ideas is by putting employees first, because you realize that they are the true value creators. Once you take that decision, then you invert the organization pyramid by making yourself and your management colleagues accountable to that value zone where the employees are, making the enabling functions like HR, finance, administration accountable to the employees, so that the entire organization is focused towards that value zone where the employee is located, so that you can maximize the value delivered by the value zone. How do you make accountability? Not by making statements, but for example, doing a 360-degree survey. My 360-degree survey is done by 55,000 employees and is published on the web for all employees to see. So once you do reverse accountability, once you push the envelope of trust, push the envelope of transparency and create the trust, I think you will start seeing employee first start delivering significant transformation value for your business.
Let's talk a little bit more about inverting the management pyramid and reverse accountability. What is the role of the leader in this kind of organization? Do you still have what we understand of as a traditional leader?
I think if you go back to history and look at Gandhi and Nelson Mandela and Martin Luther King, what they did was they showed you the mirror and said that this is not a good position to be in, right? They created dissatisfaction within you. They created a mirror for the future, which is called the romance of tomorrow. You like the future of vision of tomorrow. And then inside you, the change happened, because of which you caused the revolution of moving from point A to point B. The leaders of today are right in front as if we are fighting a war. I think the leaders of tomorrow have to be behind their people to bring about a transformation inside those people, so that they can see the vision of tomorrow, get unhappy where they are today, and make that change rather than the leader leading the way. Leaders should make that change in their hearts, and that transformation is everlasting transformation, which will last beyond the tenure of the CEO.
Let's talk about something else you mentioned, transparency. How important is transparency to the effort of putting employees first? And what does that mean to you when you are leading HCL?
I think the lack of transparency, you can see all over Wall Street, what happened. I think the way we treated our employees during recession, putting them in zones of uncertainty, not treating them properly, distributing pink slips without proper communication and proper humane behavior, is going to come and bite us over a period of time, because it is the trust between the employees and the customer and the management, which is the critical ingredient for success. How do you create that trust? You create the trust by pushing transparency in your relationship between you and your employees. Bad decisions are good decisions. You have to be transparent. You have to be transparent about it. Only by pushing the envelope of transparency do you create the trust. And once you create the trust, then you can do anything. But if that trust quotient does not exist, as it does not exist in a business environment today, right? A lot of people do not trust what is happening with the business leaders, or what is happening in businesses after what has happened in the last 2 years. I think companies which will engage their customers, their employees with trusted partnership and relationship will far outperform anybody else who's not doing it. And how do you create trust? Push the envelope of transparency with them.
What is the responsibility of the employees, the frontline managers, in this kind of organization?
I think it's a very easy question to ask. We should not ask that question, because in the end, every single person in Generation Y wants to come to work, right? And therefore, to ask the question, what is your responsibility? I think is the wrong question. It is our job as leaders of today to enthuse them, to encourage them, to excite them, to get them to buy into a vision. And if they are in the company, they're fully involved into that vision, passionately involved in the vision, driving towards a certain direction because they believe in it. Mm-hmm. Look at any revolution across the world where people believe in a vision, rightly or wrongly, they have brought about a change. Right? Where people are 50% here and 50% there, they're called job workers. You need to have responsibility and I need to have responsibility. Both of us need to have responsibility so that we do nothing together.
What do you think is the hardest part of implementing these ideas in an organization?
Believing that you do not have all the answers. Believing that it is okay for brighter people to exist in the world. Believing that the future answers should not come from the managers and the CEOs, but should come from the organization. Believing that the command and control way of running organizations will not work. If we believe in democratic values in running our countries, and we preach a lot about that, we better bring democracy in our whole organization. And believing by opening yourself to accountability, by opening yourself to evaluation, you unleash a power to transform your company which you have never seen before.
But realistically, isn't there some risk in decentralizing the decision-making power in a company?
I think good question. An organization has to decide when to transform. Most of the time, the organizations slow down and die without even noticing that the time for transformation has come. So if you're in a car race and you are ahead of everybody else, you don't need to do employee first. But most of us are not ahead in the car race. We are right in the middle. At that particular time, if you have a better idea, you're a Google, you're MySpace, you're Apple, that's fine. You don't need to do anything else. But for the others who are searching for ideas to transform, where product ideas and services ideas are not there, employee first is an idea where you can enthuse the employees and transform your company, as we have done in HCL. So 21% growth year on year during recession, 41% increase in customer satisfaction, #1 employee satisfaction in Asia, and also one of the 5 companies to be noticed by Business Week. All this during recession only because we decided to transform using employee first.
It's a powerful idea. Vineet, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
That was Vineet Nayar, CEO of HCL, and the book is Employees First, Customers Second. For more, go to hbr.org.